Ms. Bodine, do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor. I didn't know that was going to come out like that.
Imagine raising a child for 2 years, feeding them, putting them to sleep, loving them with all your heart, only to find out that the child isn't yours. Not just one, but 2 children. And worse, the mother can't even tell you who the real father is. This isn't a made-up story. It's a real-life case that unfolded in court, leaving everyone shocked.
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children, you now have doubts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
A man named Jermaine Benning believed he was the father of 2 kids. He had given them his name, built a life around them, and loved them unconditionally. But when the truth came out, his world was shattered.
Ms. Bodine, you claim you are certain the plaintiff is Robin and Jermaine Jr.'s father and have evidence to support your claim. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the heartbreaking story of Benning versus Bodine, a courtroom drama about betrayal, DNA tests, and the cruel reality of misplaced trust. Jermaine Benning grew up without his mother. She had passed away when he was just 14 years old, leaving a huge void in his heart. Losing her at such a young age shaped his entire life. He always dreamed of having a daughter, someone he could love and protect, someone who would remind him of the mother he lost. So when his girlfriend Kayla Bodine told him she was pregnant, he was overjoyed. He felt like life had finally given him something beautiful to hold on to. When they found out it was a girl, Robin, Jermaine was over the moon. He saw her as his second chance at unconditional love. But
No, Your Honor. I admit I did cheat. But for certain, he's the father. We was together while I got pregnant with Robin, and I know for certain he's the father.
But things took a dark turn on the day Robin was born. Jermaine was at the hospital, standing next to Kayla, ready to welcome their baby into the world. It should have been the happiest day of his life, but just before Kayla gave birth, Jermaine's phone buzzed, a text message. The message was from a man Jermaine barely knew, and what it said made his blood run cold.
It actually happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla as she was pushing this baby out, and I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
That baby isn't yours. I'm the father. You need to leave the hospital. Imagine standing in the delivery room, about to witness the birth of your first child, and suddenly someone tells you it's not yours.
I am in labor, like literally in the hospital, and I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
Jermaine was devastated, confused, angry. But despite that, he stayed. He watched as Robin was born, as she took her first breath. And even with that doubt eating at him, he signed the birth certificate. He told himself, "This is my daughter," no matter what. But that doubt never left his mind. When Jermaine confronted Kayla about the text message, she admitted she had cheated on him. But she insisted Robin was still his child.
Because, Your Honor, I stood up and did the woman and the mother thing I had to do and got the other guy tested.
Oh, so you had a DNA test on the other guy already?
Yes, and he wasn't the father.
To prove it, she said she had already done a DNA test with the man who sent the text. That test showed a 0% chance of paternity, meaning the man claiming to be the father was wrong.
The DNA test doesn't mean anything considering the fact that she's cheated on me with more than one person.
But this only made Jermaine more suspicious. He wasn't just worried about that one guy, because Kayla hadn't cheated just once. Back whenever they fought, she would throw it in his face, taunting him, saying, "You're not even her father."
As well as, Your Honor, anytime that something is wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father.
Imagine how painful that must have been. The woman he loved was planting doubts in his mind every time they had an argument.
I'm
You
the
say
father.
stuff to hurt my feelings. Why
Have
can't
I
I
ever
do it
told
to
you that you're not the parent of your kid?
You can't. I pushed him out.
Jermaine knew he needed the truth, so he took the case to court.
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children, you now have doubts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Demanding an official DNA test. When the test results finally came in, Jermaine sat in the courtroom, his heart pounding. The judge opened the envelope and read the results aloud.
In the case of Benning versus Bodine, when it comes to 23-month-old Robin Benning,
Jermaine Benning, you are not the biological father. Silence. You could see the pain on his face. His entire world had just collapsed. 2 years of loving, caring, and raising Robin just to find out she wasn't his. But even then, Jermaine didn't react with anger. He simply said, "It doesn't matter. I'm still going to be there for her." Because, to him, biology didn't define fatherhood. Love did. But
Your
the,
mother-
Tell me
she's
she's not mine. It feels like you're taking my mother away from me again.
but the case wasn't over. In fact, it was about to get even worse. Jermaine had another child with Kayla, a 6-month-old baby boy named Jermaine Jr., and now that he knew Kayla had lied about Robin, how could he trust that Jermaine Jr. was really his? That's
Change her diaper and look at her and play with her, and she's calling me daddy, and there's something in the back of my head saying she might not be. You know, there's a text message on my phone saying she's not yours. There's people calling me on my phone saying I'm her dad.
That single thought changed everything. So once again, the court ordered a second DNA test, this time for baby Jermaine. Jermaine Sr. sat in the courtroom, praying that this time the results would be different.
It'd be good to know at least one of my kids is mine.
He needed at least one of these children to be his. But when the judge opened the envelope,
these results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Benning versus Bodine,
Jermaine Benning, you are not the father. Another silence, another world shattered. His son, his namesake, wasn't his. The courtroom was filled with tension.
Cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do, and
People were waiting to hear Kayla's reaction. Who was the real father of these children? Surely she had an answer, right? But when the judge asked her directly, Kayla shrugged and said, "I don't know." That
you don't remember sleeping with people, or is it just that there were so many you can't remember? Or what is it? Because at this point, I hope you go and find the biological fathers for your children.
That was it. She had no clue who the real father of either child was. Jermaine was beyond broken at this point. He had built a home for these kids, given them his name, raised them with love. And now he had to walk away. The judge looked at Jermaine, understanding his pain. He praised him for being an amazing father, even when he didn't have to be. But the truth was the truth, and Jermaine had to accept it. After the trial, Jermaine spoke to the media. He admitted that this experience had destroyed his ability to trust. "How do you come back from something like this?" he said. "How do you give your heart to someone again?" It wasn't just about the kids. It was about the betrayal, the lies, the fact that he had given everything and been left with nothing. But one thing was certain. Jermaine may not have been their biological father, but for those 2 years, he had been a real father in every way that mattered. And that's something no DNA test could ever erase. This case wasn't just about paternity. It was about loyalty, trust, and the brutal consequences of betrayal. What would you have done in Jermaine's place? Would you have walked away immediately or stayed even after the truth came out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to hear more real-life cases like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because sometimes the most shocking stories are the ones that are 100% real.